Steve? What are you doing?
Minecraft.
We have to do another Doctor Who review.
What about Minecraft?
We've missed 3 episodes and we have lost all our subscribers. And we haven't gotten any fan mail.
Oh yes, all the diamonds. I found them at last. Son of a bitch! I lost everything! I have to play Minecraft for another 1,000 hours! Doctor Who?
Hi, I'm David.
Where am I?
And we just finished watching Doctor Who's Kill the Moon. So Steve, what'd you think?
Think of what?
Well, I'll tell you what I thought. I thought it was a pretty good episode, but as an average. Because half of it was terrible, in my opinion, and half of it was really pretty good. And I think Steve agrees with me.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with this episode. It had great character moments, especially at the end, and it had really, really terrible science that was like offensively bad.
I agree. Let's talk about the science.
Yeah,
there was probably a lot of terrible things about it, but why don't you just point out some of the most just pulled you out of the episode, distracting. Why'd you have to write it like that? It's just stupid.
I don't even know where to start.
How about the moon is an egg?
The moon is an egg. Totally impossible because we know what the moon is made out of. It's made out of the same stuff as the Earth. That's how we know where the moon came from.
Yeah, but how is that different than some of the other ridiculous aspects of Doctor Who science that we accept?
Yeah, well, the difference is that you learn about this stuff in middle school. And this is stuff that anybody who has even the most basic understanding of rudimentary science understands. Mm-hmm. And that's totally different than most of the other leaps of faith you have to take with Doctor Who science, because it's usually explained with technobabble and this is really advanced alien technology and you don't understand it, versus this is science that we know and understand and they're just getting it completely wrong. It's different in that way.
Right. There's a difference between, suspension of disbelief, for the sake of a story by using advanced technology that we don't understand yet.
Right.
Or time mechanics, because that's important to the show. Then, the sun is not what we think the sun. We know certain basic aspects of science, and it's distracting when they just want us to believe something stupid.
Right, and it makes you have less faith in the Doctor's intelligence too, and just the intelligence of the writers and the show.
I don't think the show needs to take itself seriously, but in that way, I think it should.
Yeah, especially where this has a very large audience of children, and it's a great opportunity for the writers to introduce these children to real scientific understanding and knowledge, and to throw all these ridiculous ideas of how gravity works completely wrong. That child might grow up for at least until they get to school and learn the right way, thinking about gravity in completely the wrong way, where they had an opportunity to teach them the right way to think about how gravity might work.
I think when it comes to large creatures that live in space, Star Trek The Next Generation did it right, and this episode of Doctor Who did it horribly wrong.
The spiders being unicellular organisms, that doesn't make any sense. It's impossible. The localized gravity shifts, because the creature inside was moving.
The one time. Yeah,
it caused one person to float up instead of all of them when they were only a couple feet apart.
Yeah, a creature the size of the moon, somehow the fact that it's shifting changes the gravity anyway.
The gravity would still be fairly uniform. It would be an unnoticeable shift.
Yeah, but in such a discreet area as the small room that we were talking about.
Right.
It was silly.
It didn't make any sense.
And, even when they were describing the tides, they said that the tide was at an enormously high tide at all places around the world, which doesn't even make logical sense
No.
when you're considering, okay, let's say the moon is increasing its mass to that effect that it's creating huge tides. It would only create huge tides on one half of the ocean.
Right. Wherever, the moon is
Right.
at the time. Where it would be crashing into the Earth
Yeah.
at the end, when the creature hatches out. They're at the ocean. The moon is gone. I was expecting a massive tidal wave to be heading towards them at that point, but there was nothing. And then, oh look, it just laid an egg that's bigger than it was.
Right.
That happens to be
And
exactly the
apparently
same mass.
you can hear it.
Yeah, and you can hear it from the moon. At the same time it's making the sound, because, it doesn't take that long for sound to travel from the moon to Earth, if it even could. So
Terrible.
That's the short list of scientific problems that were wrong with this episode.
So that's why the episode was terrible, but it redeemed itself in a lot of ways by having great character development moments, great character pieces, dialogue between Clara and the Doctor.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The best part of the episode for me was the end, which I feel was a
Clara's monologue?
Yeah.
Or not monologue completely?
Her confrontation, Clara's confrontation with the Doctor, where she finally spells out for him how she feels. And I feel like it's a combination of her feelings that have developed through the entire season.
Yeah.
That she's finally reached a point where she just kind of snapped at him and expressed her true feelings.
Yeah, I think that, I saw both sides of that argument. I think part of her frustration is in losing the friend she had in the previous Doctor. And I think the Doctor had a point when I think he was basically saying that he was expecting unrealistic things out of him. That he felt that his role as someone who's not of Earth, is to not help in certain situations and leave certain decisions making to her or to humanity. But on the other hand, I think she was saying, you could have gone about it in a less dickish way.
Right.
And I am your friend, and you should treat me with more respect than to scare me, and put me in such a horrible situation, which I can understand that too. Obviously, it seems to me that they're setting it up for her to suddenly be thinking of life without being with the Doctor, looking towards her leaving, whether or not it's this series or a later series. You can tell that obviously she can now see a future without the Doctor.
Yeah. Her relationship is drastically different with this Doctor, and
ours is too, and she's the embodiment of that.
Yeah. So the show had a tremendous amount of egregious scientific flaws that completely removed me from the episode when it was happening. But it also had a number of great character moments, especially at the end, which I felt was deserved not just from this episode, but from the entire series, and the new dynamic between Clara and the Doctor finally coming to a head.
Agreed.
So
for me, it was like, as horrible as the science part was, which keeps me from saying, oh, this is one of the greatest episodes of Doctor Who ever.
Right.
I really enjoyed the character development part, because in a series lacking in serialization, and an overarching story, that last part of the episode did have an impact on the larger story of Clara and the Doctor, and so I really soaked that in. That was important to me.
Yeah, I've always placed character before story elements, so that overall does make this a good episode for me. I did enjoy it, despite all its obvious flaws. So, just like every episode of the season so far has been, there hasn't really been that really bad episode. Every season has that one episode that's just like, why did they even
forget that ever happened?
Yeah, and this could have been that episode if it didn't have those character moments.
Right. If
it was just based on that moon egg, and it didn't have the
someone on
character.
YouTube will fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 5 more episodes to go.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful it starts to move into a more serialized territory towards the end, but I don't think it will.
No. But obviously there'll be we'll get to the Missy story eventually, and that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And we'll be here to tell you about it.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week to review Mummy on the Orient Express, which looks
like a one-off.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Train in space.
The teasers for these episodes have been misleading a lot. So,
yeah, that's true.
So we'll see.
Yeah. So until then, rate us so we know how we're doing, and consider subscribing if you like our videos so you can get new ones. We're not going to miss 3 weeks again.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But leave a comment below and just let us know what you think.
Yeah. And if your name happens to be Jeremy, you should subscribe.
Yeah. Just do it.
Just do it. Oh, I love Minecraft.